Welcome to TechZine TV.
Welcome to the TechZine TV. We're at SAP Connect in Las Vegas, and we're talking to Gina Vorgiu. She's the Chief People Officer and Labor Director at SAP. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. We're going to talk about the impact of technology on people and on the HR perspective, I guess. The work culture seems to be changing a lot, and it's going faster and faster. Partly to technology and partly because people want more or different things nowadays. What changes or trends or hurdles do you see at SAP as a Chief People Officer?
That's a big question, actually.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of topics, and maybe we can also go one by one.
Sure.
So first of all, what is changing? I think the biggest change is, of course, the impact of AI on our workforce. So this is something we are evaluating at the moment. We're adopting AI tools everywhere in the organization. And I think it's important that we have also the narrative that we are really driving AI with humans, and it's not actually AI in competition with humans. I think this is a very big trend we see, and this is also something where we're investing a lot, also when it comes to enablement in learning, so that we are also freeing up 15% of working time for learning, because it's about upskilling and reskilling. Because when you are looking at how much AI can already take over from humans, so employees already estimate that 42% of tasks can already be done by AI. So, and that is actually something where you can see, okay, AI and also humans are strong teammates, but it also requires, that we are upskilling and reskilling our workforce. And this is a very big trend. And that also brings me to the second topic. So I also said in my people strategy that we are transforming SAP into a skill-led people ecosystem. So skills for me are the new supply chain or the new currency, also in the age of AI, because it's important that we are very fast in adapting, that we are also able to provide the right personalized learning journeys also for our employees. And this is why we're shifting from rigid job titles and job descriptions to the skill lens. That's another piece that is changing in the workforce, and where also employees really also portray, okay, a shift here and a different demand.
Is AI a mandatory skill then at SAP?
It is.
Yeah, because you said
it is. Exactly.
because you said 15% is going towards knowledge and training and educating your staff.
Yeah. So actually, in the connection with the transformation into a skill-led organization, we have come up with a skills taxonomy at SAP. And of course, AI, our skills are at the top of the requirements. And we also require that all of our employees, adopt AI tools. And for this, you have to be familiar. Of course, there are different proficiency levels, so not everybody has to be at the highest level. But I think it's important that you really, really make sure that people understand, okay, what are AI skills and how do we apply it?
Yeah, that's kind of my next question. Like, how are you optimizing your staff for AI? How are you making them use it? Because introducing a new tool is one, and giving them some knowledge is the second, but adoption is always a big hurdle to take.
It is a big hurdle, exactly. So what we have just done last week, we called it AI Discovery Workshop. So we went really function by function. And we also talked about, okay, what are the big bets? What are the use cases? So we are also involving employees and leaders to say, okay, what is it? What would bring you forward? What is it? What make your tasks more meaningful and more motivating? And what could be also, so to speak, outsourced to AI or also agents? Yeah. With that, we are also designing also the new digital strategy for each function. But we are also working together with Philipp Herzig, our CTO and responsible for AI at SAP. So also here we're doing AI summits, learning summits. So we are doing a lot and organizing a lot so that we are making sure employees are exposed also to AI and lowering the distance and also the fear to use AI.
What kind of AI have you already introduced into the workforce? Because I know SAP builds a lot of AI.
Yeah.
Some of it has yet to become available. Some is available. There's also a lot of AI from third-party vendors that can maybe be helpful in an organization as SAP.
Sure, it's about also partnering. It's not always about...
what are you using today with your staff?
Yeah, so when you look at HR is a huge field of application for AI. So one big example is, for example, the the goal and performance management agent that will also come now in Q4. So this is also supporting the agent, supporting the manager and also the employees, and getting the goals in, following up, and making sure that dialogue between manager and employee is prepared in a better way. In this regard, we also have AI-assisted goal writing. This is also heavily used already. More than 60,000 managers are using that because we just introduced the new performance management process this year. And it's very important that we have well-defined and designed goals. And here is where AI can really assist. We also have a lot of applications also in the recruitment area, where AI, for example, is extracting skills out of CVs. Or you also have a job matching. AI is a job matching assistant where you can also enter your skills, and then jobs are also proposed. So we have a variety.
It's all very specialized. Do you also have like day-to-day AI use cases, or?
So day-to-day, yeah, this is what we're using day-to-day.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you're working in HR, I can see that, but for the average marketer or administrator, do you have AI tools for them as well?
We do. I mean, we also call it Simplify SAP. So we have different use cases across finance, procurement. So you have these kind of use cases in all of the functions, of course. Yeah.
Okay. Do you also measure how your employees are using AI?
Sure. We are also measuring the adoption of AI. And that's why we also say, okay, I think we made a lot of progress, but I think it's important that we're accelerating the adoption of AI. The same what we do with our customers to help also increasing the adoption, the same as what we are also doing within our own company.
Okay. There are many AI tools. How do you choose which ones are the right ones? I can imagine if you build your own AI tools, you're going to use them, but there's also a lot of third-party offerings, and you have to decide which is right for because you manage the whole of SAP stuff, right? Every employee, not just the ones in HR. So
yes,
there's a lot of choice to be made. How do you set up a process to evaluate all these tools and make use of the best ones, I guess?
Yeah, actually, this is actually driven by Sebastian Steinhäuser's organization, our CEO and the managing board. We're working cross-functional, of course, also as a managing board, but we have the IT organization that is looking into that. We are also looking how can we simplify SAP, so we're getting also a lot of feedback from our employees. And then it's of course also important to evaluate, okay, where do you make the biggest strides using AI? Because you can go very small. Yeah, and you have these day-to-day routines like bots, or you have this automation tasks. But I think it's important for us also to say, okay, how can we gain efficiency, and where can agents also take over value-adding tasks? So I think this is how we evaluate things. So you get very small use cases that is helping and relieving employees and managers. But then we also have to make sure that we are doing the big bets as well.
And is there like a set goal, how much work you need to hand over to an AI agent, how much you need to do yourself? Is there some goal in that, or objective?
So, I mean, we have laid out at Sapphire already that we say that we have up to 30% productivity gains. But I think it's important to underline that we're looking at tasks and not whole jobs. So that means we also have to see now what can be taken over by AI. When you look at estimates of our employees, employees say that 42% of tasks can already be taken over by AI. But I think it really depends on the kind of job. It's not applicable across all jobs alike.
Yeah, but let's say, for example, you have a HR agent that can help you with business policies. If you have a question about vacation days or leave,
we have
it can just tell you. But sometimes there are situations where you rather have a human talking to an employee than doing it to a bot. If someone saying it's really sick, it can be better to not send out an agent. Are there things you can adjust in your policy to make it more empathy, I guess?
Yeah, it depends also on what kind of agents are you using, right? Because I think we have to differentiate between the ones who do the repetitive tasks and to automate, right? This is, for example, Joule is helping also our shared service center. So when employees have questions, then you get the answer because Joule is searching through the policies, right? Or is even able in the enterprise service management to then create a ticket with the agent we have just launched. So this is one thing, but what is very popular at the moment, where you also can see a lot of adoption, is when you have AI coaches. So this is where you have actually you can talk to someone, right? And that feels quite real. So this is very scary. So it's not that there is no empathy. So it's interesting. So I have seen some prototypes about that AI agent, and this is actually, you have your own private new friend and your own private coach.
And you see that as a good thing, as a people officer, that people relate to an agent instead of a human?
I think what is important for us to really have the combination of AI and humans. And when you create these, I always call it AI human power couples, it's important that we are creating this unity. It's not about AI against human. I think this is super important to underline all the time.
Okay.
Because it can be a great help also for business partners, right? So because it frees up also time and you can concentrate on other tasks.
Okay. And are you confident that AI will always take the right decision for you? Because there are a lot of questions out there. My people are saying, okay, but what if the agents make a mistake? You know, because you introduced a bunch of agents.
Yeah.
What if it makes a mistake? How do you make sure it gets corrected, or you catch it on time? Or because we do know they can spiral out. Of course, you very strict guardrails on your agents, but still, I saw something about financial statements that it can check the bank statement and link it to the right customer or the right payment.
Yes.
If it makes a mistake, you need to catch it on time.
That is true. So that's why we always say human and AI together. And when you also see into the future, it's very much about orchestration, delegation. So the skill shifts are also there, and also employees have to gain new expertise. Right? It's very much about how do I orchestrate the work of agents. It's not about, okay, I let the agents go completely alone and I don't control it anymore. So it's a different way of interacting with each other.
Yeah. Do you need to explain this a lot internally to your employees, because you're trying to get your whole workforce behind this AI strategy? But I can imagine if people are working for 20 years or 30 years with SAP and doing the same job in the same way for many years, and they need to change that. People don't like change, usually.
No, they don't. On the other hand, I must say, I think we really do a lot. So involving employees, right? I think it's important to co-create. It's important to involve them in creating the use cases, but it's also important to engage them in the AI summits. So I think it's important to bring AI into the middle of your daily work. Yeah. We also have the AI launchpads, so employees can also experiment. I think it's also important that you prototype, experiment, that you can create your own little solution. And this is important because it is in a playful way. You have to get familiar with AI because there is no way around it, right? You can say, okay, I'm against AI, but it is reality already.
Well, what if employees don't want to use it, or just don't use it because they don't always tell you? They say, oh, okay. They keep on doing the same job like they did for many years.
We are implementing constantly new AI use cases. Also within SAP, we are rolling it out. It's embedded in our own process, and SAP runs SAP. So there is a point where you can't get around it anymore.
Okay. So they really need to get on board, I guess.
Absolutely. So we also evolved our growth culture. So that is why we are also investing heavily at the moment also in our transformation program. We redefined our behaviors, because one of the behaviors is embrace curiosity. So it is super important. And this is also one change and one trend that you constantly have to adjust to stay current. Because the skills are changing so fast. So that's absolutely important to stay current and to invest also in your own learning. So this is a new trend, and also this you can't circumvent.
And do you think everybody can keep up with these new trends and this new skill set?
we try everything to really enable. So we have for every area across our board, we have clear learning priorities. As I said, we just laid out a 15%, up to 15% working time to invest in learning. We are doing hyper-personalized AI-assisted learning journeys. This is also something that is done tangible also for all employees to make sure that everybody is really picked up where he or she is in order to say, okay, this is my learning path and this is what I really need. So this is where we really invest a lot.
Okay. I've spoken to other companies who were trying to adopt AI within the organization, and they also implemented a return to the office policy because they felt that people couldn't adapt enough to AI when working from home. Is that something SAP is doing as well? Are you trying to get people more back into the office to better adapt to this new world we live in, I guess?
So this is one trend, of course. How do we implement? I call it flexible work, because it's not so much about working from home or working in the office. So we absolutely support flexible working at SAP. That was already before Corona, and we are adjusted our pledge to flex also after the pandemics. It is important from our point of view to bring people back into the office for a couple of days. So we say 3 days office, 2 days flexible. But we have a lot of exceptions also, and we really try to make sure that the leader and also the employee can agree, okay, what is now suitable, right? And it's not super rigid and super strict, but overarchingly, we would like to bring people also back into the office, because we are hiring around about 11 to 12,000 people annually from the outside. And it's important that people connect, that people also experience the culture, and that we are also creating engagement and networks, because it's very difficult to do that just through the Teams or the laptop. This is not where connection is made. Connection is made when humans meet, and this is also important for us, but also at the same time allowing for flexibility.
You have a pretty impressive resume as an HR manager, I guess. Has your job become easier or harder with AI? Overall, managing all of the people, because it's a lot of change.
Yeah, actually, I thrive very much when I have a changing environment. So this is also one of my spikes, how to lead also business transformation. This is just another trend, another transformation you have to manage. And this is what we're also doing and driving and really also managing at SAP. So we do a lot in order to enable also employees, but also leaders, how to drive these large-scale business transformation projects.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for watching TechSign TV. We'll be back with more from SAP Connect.
Thank you for watching TechScene TV, the channel about enterprise technology that brings you IT insights and analyses from events all around the globe. We cover everything, everywhere. Visit techscene.eu for more written in-depth articles and analysis, or keep watching techscene.tv. Don't forget to subscribe to our channels and share your favorite videos with your colleagues. We'll see you soon.